Hey guys, ever wanted to make a very quick, simple Halloween card? Well, let me show you how. So I have Lawn Fawn's Spooky Village with some stamps already ready to go. I have a piece of Nina 110, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and we'll score that at 4.25 when we get there. And then I have the Waffle Flower mini slimline and A2 layers dies. I used the A2 size from the A2 layers, so the biggest one, and I'm going to use, if I get rid of that, the mini slimline. I'm using, let's see which one it was. It was about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th one in, and that will fit across the A2 card. That's what I love about combining those two sets. So, oops. So for the first part, and I think I'm going to use a stamp tool just to make it easier. Let me zoom you out. A bit anyway. So I have, I'll make room. I have the Tim Holtz stamp platform. You guys have seen me use this before. It's on the clear side, which means I can use a clear stamp or like a photopolymer stamp. I do have some temporary adhesive in here, and what I want to do is put this on the right side. Let's see. And I'm just getting that stuck in there. And then I have a variety of stamps, like I said, from the stamp set that I'm going to use to create my little scene on this block. Now you can, obviously you don't need to use a die set to create these blocks of cardstock. You can just cut them with a paper trimmer. I just found this easier and quicker for me. So I'm just lining up my little trick-or-treaters, my little house, as best I can. I have some of the little what are these things called, gravestones. They're going to go this side, and then I have one of the trees that I thought would look quite cute on the end, like so. Just positioning them where I want them. Oops. Getting them somewhat lined up. Stamps being stamps, they want to stick to each other. And they will want to stick to you as well. So, as best you can, line them up where you want them. Oh, just get that out of the way. I'll add those ones afterwards. I'm going to lift this just to have a look to see if they look like they're lined up how I want them along this edge. That house is not quite in the right place for me, so I'm going to open this and just move it over a little. On the lid. And then I can go back in here. That's too high. get it hopefully in somewhat of a cool position. Doesn't have to be perfect, and it won't be. Yeah, the house is not right. Right. Excuse me while I finagle. Let's just do this again. In fact, even easier. Let's do one at a time. This stamped in place. There's that one. Let's get the trick-or-treaters. And I think we can probably do these. Just pick each one up. Just create your little scene. Like so. Get rid of that. And then I have my little graveyard. So I'm going to offset slightly more towards the tree. That kind of makes sense. Right, then I have a little, get rid of the cat hair, I have a little moon and cloud, and then a couple of bats. Gotta have bats, right? It's Halloween. All you're doing is creating a little scene on like a small scene on a smaller panel, and you can do this for anything. These happen to be smallish sized stamps, but there's a lot of other stamps that are maybe larger in their size, but you can still create a smaller scene. So I think that's pretty cool. And then the bats, I think I'm going to have some more. You can never have enough bats. I'm going to put another one there, I think. No, let's do another one there. Like so. And just to save time, I will colour these off screen. Otherwise you will be here forever. here's your little scene, all ready to be coloured. So I will do that off screen and I will be right back. So now that I've got my scene coloured in, I just did basic colouring. I didn't shade or do anything fancy, and then afterwards I just used I actually used broken china. It happened to be on my desk so I just used that as a backdrop, and I just started at the top and inked heavier at the top and less at the bottom, just to create a bit of a sky. So that's it. It's super easy, super easy. So what I want to do now is I've got my panel that will fit on the front of the card, and I want to add my greeting. So I'm going to use a block to just lift that up like so, and I want to eyeball this sort of because I am going to pop this piece up just so that it's got a little bit of extra something. And so I'm just getting that roughly where I want it. I'm going to ink up my stamp nicely and just eyeball it so that it's somewhere underneath, like so. So now that's where the greeting will sit, just like that. Ghostly greetings. Whoops. And then I have this thinner tape, which you guys have seen me use before. Make it a longer piece. I love this stuff. It's really inexpensive, off Amazon. It's the easiest way of doing this. And it's quite thin, which is what I like, so you get a bit of dimension but nothing over, nothing too thick, so that things like postage will be quite easy, and it gives the depth and the dimension, but it doesn't overkill the card, if that makes sense. Nothing wrong with lots of dimension but sometimes you don't want that height or as much of that height. So that's where this sort of thing comes in, and it's nice and simple. So I'm going to turn this, turn this sideways and then use the grid on my mat to try and help me line this up again. Hopefully, she says. Get that somewhat straight. Pretty good. It's a little off, but it's fine. How cool is that? Simple. Right, so last thing. Card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, call it 4 1/4. This is Nina Heavyweight, which I think I said at the beginning. It's a nice thick sturdy cardstock for a card base, so I use this quite a lot. And then this I'm going to stick flat to the base of my card. So add the adhesive to my card base instead. And then I line up, I kind of turn it upside down. I've done that before. and then I line up the outer edge and the sides, top and bottom, and that mostly gets it where you want it on the card base. And the reason I do that is because the score line tends to be a bit chunky, so if you line it up with the, as an open card with the edge of the score line, you might overhang on this side. So I always start from this and work my way back to the score line. There you go guys, one very quick simple card. I know the colouring takes a little bit of time, but it's nothing major, and just another way to create a quick Halloween card using your layers dies and some lawn fawn stamps. So I hope you've liked this, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one guys. Bye for now.